Thank you for attending this session. This is a Tuesday night Arizona ASHE class on-demand water heaters. The date today is 10/12/2021. I want to thank everyone. Okay, so on-demand water heaters, what does that mean? On demand, so there's no tank, no storage tank. This is an on-demand gas water heater. Okay, a lot of people go nuts when you say hot water heater. And whatever. So what's missing here, Harris? You got any idea on the gas flex line there?
Well, it looks like a little. You have a drip. You don't have a drip loop.
Harris Sensei, we are not worthy. Thank you. There's no drip loop there or sediment trap, depending on which part of the country you're in. And it's required to be as close as possible to the gas appliance. What does that mean? As close as possible. So right here where my mouse is on the screen, right there, that's where it's required to be. So we'll look at some pictures. Now, the gas valve itself comes off the bottom here where the pipe enters, comes up, it's pointing with the pipe, it's on. The gas flex line, in this case, is epoxy coated. This water heater looks like it's 1/2 inch entering it and 1/2 inch coming off. So some water heaters are designed to run off of 1/2 inch pipe. One of the things we'll discuss tonight is most of these are 180,000 BTUs, so they require a 3/4 inch pipe. So if you're retrofitting your on-demand water heater on an existing 1/2 inch pipe, once you go 10 feet or more, you need a 3/4 inch pipe anyway to have enough volume of gas. All gas water heaters have to have power. What? Yeah, they have to have power. So take a look here. There's a cord that's plugged in. There's the cord. It's plugged in. Got to have power because we got to have an igniter, on-demand igniter. Harris, what size circuit do I need for this on-demand?
Well, you only need a 15 amp circuit because it's just an electronic circuit, one for igniting the flame and the other for the electronic controls.
Okay, perfect. Now, on this case here, there's a valve. A temperature valve is not required, but a pressure valve is. Why, Harris?
Only because it could build up an awful lot of pressure very quickly. It's on demand. It's a tremendous amount of heat that is causing that coil to expand rapidly. And it could exceed the safety margin.
Okay, so it's 210 degrees and 150 psi. All water heaters are designed for the same amount of pressure and temperature. So in the case like this valve that we see has no extension on it, which would be the temperature probe. So this is pressure only. So they're not going to be able to squeeze one on there. Okay, all water heaters, almost all of them, need a concentric venting system. Concentric venting system. So on the outside of the house, you'll see this black pipe, and this is for combustion air and exhaust, both at the same location. So this pipe we're seeing, the word concentric means that it's 2 chambers flowing back to the tank itself. So the pipe that comes off the top of this Rinnai water heater has to be approved for its use, okay, or whatever brand it might be.
Well, there's one other thing.
Yes, sir.
If the unit is mounted on the exterior, you won't see that at all because the exhaust will be at the top of the unit and the air around the unit is your intake.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the front of this unit. If you notice here, there's no louvers anywhere on it because this unit is meant to be in a location where no air, no combustion air, no exhaust is going to go in the room where this is mounted. Okay, so this one here is, and we'll look at some others like he said. Down at the bottom here, we see copper soldered. I also see PEX, cross-linked poly, coming across here and here with an elbow. I'm not sure what this pipe is coming up and hooked up here to the top. You can see it coming down here. and it comes down and it comes across, and it's teed into the pressure valve drain line. So any idea what this condensing, actually I said it, sorry. Harris, when fumes condense, what happens?
It turns into liquid.
Yeah.
Steam turns to liquid.
So the vent here, moisture is produced when the gas comes out and it condenses. So they've installed a drain as required. It's running down the back side here and down, and they've teed in to the drain line going to the outside. It's a little known rule, but you can't tee into the drain line of a pressure valve or a temperature valve. It says it must be one pipe, consistent 3/4 inch all the way to the exterior. So this installation would be incorrect. So we have two things on this installation. Now, I took this off a plumber's site, so I thought, well, this will be the best so you can all see how good you are and how bad the plumber is. If any of you are plumbers, I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm sorry. Okay, so sediment trap is missing here. Pressure valve is here, but we've teed into the drain line. That's wrong. Concentric vent. Okay, this one's mounted on the outside. Now, when it's on the outside, I can see here's venting, bringing it in. They're so lazy, they left the label here so you can send in the warranty later. But it's on the exterior, okay? So again, here's my valve. Now, this is not PEX, because PEX is may not be approved particularly, but PEX is an approved for hot water. So if we take a look at this, right here is a valve with a cap, and here's a valve with a cap. Harris, any idea what these are for?
The caps are for actually cleaning the coils.
Yeah, these valves right here for cleaning the coils, right. You got to descale these things per the manufacturer every couple of years. Here's your sediment trap. We saw in the back, gas comes through. It has to turn a right angle. It can never jump across. So whoever's running through this pipe has to go splat onto the pipe and fall down into this cap. And that's the way they're to be installed. In this case, this is Vanguard. It's a cross-linked poly, and they have the rings hooked up and the elbows. Problem is, none of these are insulated. So if this is in a cool climate area, also these type of water heaters, it says right on them, no warranty if they freeze. So I guess you're in trouble if you're putting it outside where it's cold. Okay, this water heater is inside the building. Again, because there's no vents for combustion air, the manufactured concentric vent vents through the outside. Now, Harris, I'm looking here and I'm seeing unistrut right here and insulated. Okay, and the pipe's coming in. And here I see unistrut coming in, the pipe's coming in. So it's probably hot and cold. Here's my gas line coming up. And right here, I see my T and I see my sediment trap right there. Now, if you're having trouble seeing this, you can hit the plus and minus on your screen and make it bigger so you can zoom in and see it. Okay. So in this case here, they've used black iron pipe. That's why it's black. They put a union here so they can disconnect it. I don't know why it's only connected here. They have an inline water filter right here, and here's the wrench to take it apart. What was interesting about this is they plumbed this building in CPVC. So right here, you can see the yellow pipe hooked to the drain line, and CPVC is approved for a pressure relief valve because it's approved for 210 degrees. It's the only plastic pipe that's approved at that temperature for long-term usage. The problem is, how many elbows can you have in a drain line for a pressure valve, Harris?
4.
No more than 4, everybody. So I'm going to take a look here. I'm going to come down. Here's 2 right here. Here's another one here. And hopefully there's no others, but let's pretend there are. So no more than 4. And who says that? Well, the end of this valve is usually a yellow tag hanging there, and it hangs down. It tells you what the installation requirements are. They're on there for a reason. And that reason is what, Harris?
Well, because the manufacturer makes the rules and you have to follow their suggestions.
Oh, cool. Okay, the rules are made to be followed. Okay, those are the pictures of the units. We're now going to go to the installation requirements to install these things, but use an inspector need to know what they are. So let me unshare my screen 1 second while I'm playing around here. Are you guys still there? Did I get rid of you?
I have a question.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
So does the outlet that it's plugged in, do you have to be dedicated or can it be on a GFCI circuit?
Typically, it's a dedicated circuit.
Well, a lot of them, like when they remodel, if they don't have a dedicated outlet in there, they plug into the GFCI. So would I call that out?
Yes.
No, because modeling rules are different than new installations. Remodeling rules fall into what's called the grandfather clause. But you can always bring it up to new code requirements.
Austin and Kayan's wedding has. Oh.
So, we can hear someone talking in the background. I'm not sure if you were asking a question.
Yeah, Ken was.
Okay.
And no, I got it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. You should have that shared screen up in front of you right now.
Yes,
Okay.
came up.
So on-demand water heater installation manual and owner's guide. Every water heater has this. So if you want to learn how to do it, you can just type it in, type the model number in. So this one here, the model is a 140 indoor TH3MDV or an outdoor. We are recording this session, so you can get a copy of it from Tara tomorrow. Okay, so gas hot water heaters. Endless hot water on demand, compact, space saving, no pilot, light, lights by itself. So here we go. Okay, so all that writing, we'll skip that. Installation, thank you. Okay, again, you're gonna have to zoom in if you can't see this. So natural gas output or propane output, take a look here. This one here is made to operate at 15,000 BTUs up to 120,000 BTUs. Oh, okay, so I can use 1/2-inch black iron pipe for this. I don't need 3/4. A typical water heater needs 186. It's 186,000 BTUs. So this water heater will operate off of 15,000. Wait a minute. A regular gas water heater uses 30,000 BTUs to heat water to a water tank. Okay, so you go out to your water heater, take a look at it. It says right on it, 30,000 BTUs. So if you want to heat water in your lifetime and it's only running 15,000 BTUs, you better be doing nothing but washing your hands because you're not going to have enough gas to supply that. So again, let's look down here and it says gas connection, 1/2-inch. So this water heater can operate off of a 1/2-inch pipe, but it's at a minimal of 15,000. So it's barely supplying enough hot water for you. That's the problem. Okay, water connection, 3/4. So it's telling us I need a 3/4 pipe. Water pressure, they've made this thing so it'll operate from barely 15 PSI up to 150. Okay, so the standard for most municipalities is 40 to 80. 40 to 80. Now, if you're checking the water pressure on a house, Harris, do you check water pressures?
Yes, I do.
Why do you do that?
I just want to make sure the pipes won't blow apart if the pressure is too high.
Okay, so when I check the water pressure at the front hose bib and the back hose bib, are they going to be the same due to the fact static water pressure is the same in both locations?
They should be the same.
And if they're not,
You got a big water leak somewhere.
okay. And so when you're doing the static water pressure test, do you flush a toilet to see if there's a drop in pressure?
No,
Okay, so if any of you were doing that and you flush a toilet and you have a pressure regulator that's operational, the pressure should not drop at all. So the rule is pressure drops with flow. But if I have a regulator and properly plumbed, you won't have a drop. Pressure drops with flow. So that's something that tomorrow Harris is going to start doing. I can see that look on his face. Thank you, Harris. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So as we go down here, we keep looking. We got a bunch of other numbers. We're not doing a water column test. We're not doing a manifold test. But what I wanted you to see here, it tells us right here that a 1/2-inch pipe is acceptable for this. Okay. So the way this functions, again, water comes in, it goes through this manifold back and forth with little teeny pipes, and there's a burner, and the burner's going up through this radiator and heats it. The igniter is just a piezoelectric igniter, ignites the gas, and the water flows through at a certain speed, and that speed is the regular speed that you're using water. But it has to cut down the volume of water so it can heat it quickly, everybody. And to do that, it has to use a boatload of gas. Okay, and when it does that, you get condensations right here, condensate drain port. There it is. Okay. Okay, so your safety guidelines. We'll just look through here as we're going. Take a look. It says follow all local codes. This can be used for natural gas or propane as long as it has the correct orifice. How do you know it's correct? We'll look at the label and see what it says. Properly ground the water heater in accordance with all local codes. Harris, what does that mean?
Well, that means you got to ground the outside shell and make sure all the pipes inside are properly grounded also.
So if I have a bonding lug on the outside of the unit, I need a wire hook to that?
Absolutely, yes.
Yes, thank you. I've got him trained, everybody, so finally it's a one-word answer. It took a while. Thank you. Okay, check the rating plate for the correct gas type, gas pressure, water pressure, and electric rating. What? Yeah, it's on the label. Take a picture. Okay, if this water heater does not match these requirements, do not install. This is from the manufacturer, so there it is, right there. They're doing our work for us. Man, if everybody did that, we would have no work. Okay, now, water heater temperatures over 125 could cause severe. So I don't know if you test them. I usually put my hand in and go, ooh, that's too hot. And then I tell them to fix it. These on-demand water heaters have a digital counter. It tells you how hot the water is set for. So it's not like it's, you don't have to think that hard. You just look at it and say, wow, that's set too high. Now
these units also have an adjustment.
Yes, there's an adjustment on them. Now, these water heaters typically are not designed to be used for heating, centralized heating like hydronic heating. So if they're rated for that, it'll say right on it's rated for hydronic heating. So just want to let you know back east. Okay, installation. This is all real teeny little print. Sorry, but follow local codes. Gas water heaters require connection, manifolds. We don't care. Proper space, water heater installed. Location, electrical connection. Oh, okay, here we go. Do not install the water heater where the exhaust vent is pointing into any opening in a building where the noise may disturb the neighbors. Well, if you're that close, you probably shouldn't be putting it in. It does make some noise. Make sure the vents
have a fan. There's a fan installed in some of them.
Yeah. Okay. Number 8, particles. It talks about, debris outside. Okay. Number 9, the indoor model is to be installed indoors only. Well, that's a classic. If it says indoors, I guess it should be indoors. And if it's outside, it'll be outside. This model is equipped with a thermistor and a high limit switch for the exhaust gas, detecting excessive temperatures within the flue. Well, that's because your flue is made out of plastic. So that's why they're doing that. Okay, so it's talking there. It says propylene plastic. Now, propylene looks just like PEX, everybody. And so a lot of times when you say, oh, that pipe there can't be right, ABS, PVC, CPVC could be used, or propylene. If the exhaust gas temperature goes above 140, these components will enable the water heater to safely stop. Again, all this is built into the flue. Okay, the indoor model requires 3 to 4 inch Diameter intake air supply. The intake pipe must be sealed airtight. Again, we talked about this earlier. Concentric venting. Manufacturer venting. Let's just say it that way. Okay, the air supply pipe can be made of aluminum, flexible tube, ABS is telling you again. The use of cellular core PVC, cellular core CBPVC in non is prohibited. Okay, cellular core, right there. Read the word cellular core. That's sewer pipe, everybody. That's sewer pipe. So you have to use something a little bit better than the regular cellular core. Okay. Sidewall venting is recommended for the indoor model. They're telling you, go out through the sidewall. Okay. Now, this is for this unit only, but they're pretty typical for all of them. So I've got a couple of them here. Okay, installation and service by a qualified installer. So if you're using a word and you can't come up with something, the manufacturer says qualified installer is adequate instead of saying a qualified plumber. Okay, Harris, what your word do you use?
Qualified is the word I use.
Yeah, qualified what? Someone breathing?
Electrician, plumber.
Yeah.
Qualified person that works on that trade.
Yeah. So again, they're saying installer because they know as a plumber, a contractor, the contractor may be very, very good, but they just send out somebody who's breathing, and that person says, I'm the installer. I'm going to put that in. So Harris is a qualified electrician, but he doesn't do all the work himself. He sends out one of his minions, and they do it, and they're a qualified installer because they may not be an electrician. Is that
right?
Yeah, it's true. Okay.
Yes.
And it says, for example, a licensed plumber or gas fitter. Okay, back east, they're everywhere.
That's right.
We'll just sort of go down. The manufacturer does not recommend installing a water heater in a pit. Some people might call the basement a pit, but it's not. The basement is a well-ventilated area. A pit is where you make a vault or a pit. I don't think we have to worry about it. You do not have to vent toward any operating window. Don't install the water heater next to airborne debris. Okay, so a user inspector can look at that and decide. Okay, the thing about it here, a drain pan or other means of protection against water damage is required to be installed under the water heater in case of leaks. This thing's hanging from the wall. So I don't know. This is again written based on the code, and it's hanging on the wall. So it's pretty hard for you to get a pan. And remember, it's not storing water. It's just under pressure. So I think that'll be changed eventually because that has nothing to do with this water heater. Damage caused by the water heater is not covered. Only potable water can be used with the water heater. Water hardness levels must not exceed 7 grains per gallon. Yeah, okay. Water pH levels must be between 6.5 and 8.0. How do you test that? Throw some in your eye, and if your eye is burning, the pH level is off. Water burns your eyes. Or you can test it with a litmus paper, okay? Sorry. Well water must be treated. What? Yeah, it's telling you that well water is going to stop this thing from running. Okay? Although the water heater is designed to operate with minimal sound, the manufacturer does not recommend installing the water heater on a wall adjacent to a bedroom or a room that's intended for quiet study or meditation. Oh, meditation. Sorry, mediation. Locate your heater close to a drain where water leakage will not damage. Okay, either way, they're telling you to put someplace so if the thing leaks, it doesn't make a mess. It's under pressure, everybody. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Accessories. These are things required by the manufacturer. A grill on the outside. They call it a bird screen. Birds like to fly in. There's a thermostat remotely here. And then the owner's guide, which is a novel idea. The owner's guide should be somewhere. Okay, clearances. It's right in the instructions, everybody. It tells us maintain all clearances around the water heater. So it's telling me here, top, side. Okay, let's look down here. So the indoor unit, I need 12 inches on top. That's what it means. Bottom 12 inches, the front 4 inches, and the back 1 inch. Well, come on, the thing's mounted on the wall. with its own bracket. So it must have an air gap behind it. So that's what it's doing. And the side's 3 inches. Okay. So the manufacturer's telling us what the installation is. So you do the inspection and they say to you, well, that's the way we've always done it. Do we care? No. Harris, what would you write up if this were not installed that way?
Not installed properly,
According to
manufacturers, recommendations.
that was easy. Okay, now the outdoor version here, it says it needs 36 inches to the top. That's a lot. The other numbers, and in the front, it says it needs 24 inches. Huh, wonder why it needs more outside than inside. Weird. I guess it'd be a door in front of it or something.
Well, that's for the airflow because remember it draws air in from the outside.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Thanks for saying that. I probably would have gotten to that eventually, but I like the fact you said it before. So we need air ventilation. Remember, this is not using a concentric air vent. It's using those vents on the front of the unit. Okay. Do not install this water heater under an overhang less than 3 feet. Oh, I like this one. From its top of exhaust, the area under the overhang must be open to 3 sides. Do not install this water heater under an overhang less than 3 feet. Okay, so there's something called the fall line for water. So when water comes off this, they don't want water to be hitting the water heater. So they're saying, I don't know how many 3 feet overhangs we have, everybody. Usually it's 24 inches on your eave overhangs, but it's called the fall line. So they don't want water hitting this. This same rule is also for outdoor coils. Okay, do not install the water heater exhaust port within 1 foot in the USA of any air intake or building. So they got a picture here, and they're showing you A, and exhaust ports. Okay, all this stuff is in the installation guide, everybody. So you can go online, type the model number, and just say, I'd like the PDF version of the installation guide for model 140, and kaboom, there it is. Okay. So water heater vent terminates must be at least 2 feet away from the inside corner. Oh, cool. The dead zone for almost all things is this inside corner here for, fires and stuff. So they want you away from that. They probably did some studies and said bad. Venting instructions for the indoor model. A proper venting of the plants can result in excessive levels of carbon monoxide. It tells you injury or death. A proper ventilation cause nausea and asphyxiation, severe injury or death from carbon monoxide. Either way, it's bad for you. When installing the vent system, all national and local codes must be followed. If you install thimbles, what's that, Harris?
I don't know.
Okay. So if you install a thimble, in other words, that gives you the space around the flue pipe as you go through the wall, or a fire stop. They used to call them a thimble. Fire stops or other protective devices, and they penetrate any combustible or non-combustible material. Again, it has to be something that is approved by the manufacturer. Okay, the indoor unit must be vented in accordance with the section venting of equipment. Okay, so I don't want to belabor that part there. Again, it's talking about the type of venting. General rule for venting water heaters are place the water heater as close as possible to the vent. The vent collar of the water heater must be fastened directly, so you can check that with your hand. Do not weld the vent pipe to the water heater's vent collar. Well, they don't mean weld, everybody. They mean don't use solvent, glue, and glue it on there. Okay, it's a slip fitting, and then usually there's a screw. So that's how it fits on there. Don't solvent weld that on there. How do you know if it's done that? Well, you can go look. There should be a screw, a physical attachment. The vent must be easily removable from the top of the water heater for normal service and inspection of the unit. The water heater must not be connected to any other appliance or vent stack. That rule is for all gas water heaters. Avoid using oversized vent or extremely long runs of pipe. Well, okay. So for a regular water heater, typical length of pipe is 30 feet for a 3-inch vent on a gas water heater, everybody. So in this one, they don't expect you to be putting 30 feet on a side vented water heater. Do not terminate the vent into a chimney. What? It says don't terminate the vent into a chimney. If the vent must go through the chimney, the vent must run all the way through the chimney with approved vent pipe. Okay, Harris, what does that mean in English to me?
Well, that means that in a chimney, if you have an exposed brick chimney, the gases come out, can ruin the mortar and cause the chimney to collapse. So you have to have a separate, besides it's very large, and you have to have a separate pipe all the way up to the top of the chimney to ensure proper ventilation.
Okay, so they're telling you they don't care anything about the chimney. They don't care the condition, even if it's lined. They want to see that vent flue pipe all the way up to the top. So that's what you're going to have to see. So if you don't go on the roof, you're in trouble. Okay, general rules for vent terminations. Avoid locating the water heater near any air intakes. We already saw that. Exhaust vent, ABS, PVC, CPVC, and propylene vent. Again, it's telling you here what I can use and ASTM marking. It's stamped right on the pipe, everybody. It says right on the pipe. So you can look and see. So you take these, and then it says pipe cement and primer. It's telling you every piece of pipe on the flue is required to have primer and pipe cement, except for the one attached to the top, for the ones that are required. So primer is not required for ABS. Primer is not required for CPVC, but it is required for PVC. Okay. Okay. The maximum length of exhaust pipe, here it is. Woo, 70 feet. Well, I wouldn't have thought that. The maximum length of exhaust vent piping must not exceed 70 feet. They must have a 30-foot deep basement or something. 70 feet. Damn. For 3-inch venting, which depends on the elevation of where the water heater is installed. I guess so. And 100 feet for 4-inch venting, deducting 5 feet for each elbow. Okay, that makes sense. Used in the venting system. Do not use more than 5 elbows. Well, I guess they're telling us. So each elbow is a restriction in the venting for 5 feet. So 5 feet would be 25 feet. So if I have 5 elbows and 70 feet, I can't go much more than 25 feet. Yeah, right. So they're already telling us. So I don't have to do the calculations, everybody. It tells me right here. Okay. And then down below here is the number of elbows, and it's telling me in English. I like this installation manual. It's telling me this. So I'm going to hold this for a minute. Do a screenshot. Go to the side of your screen. There's a little camera there, and do a screenshot of this thing. And then once it's on the front of your screen, you can go ahead and put it into Painter, which is part of Windows. And then you can plug this in if you want to use this as part of your inspection stuff. Okay? I'll just wait for a second.
Now, one of the reasons you're seeing all this variance between what you were talking about back east, they do have pits where furnaces go in pits, and houses could be 4 stories high, individual homes, 4 stories, sometimes 5 stories. So yes, you could easily exceed or get to 100 feet.
Right. You might be running. Now, remember, I have to have a 1/4 inch per foot. Now, they're not talking about that here, but some of these are power vents, but that power vent isn't made to push gas horizontal for 100 feet. Okay. Okay. Dip switch settings. Well, this is old technology. But either way, dip switches were these little switches you flip back and forth. Now everything's electronic. I just pulled this off the internet for 2020. Weird. Okay, but either way, here's their settings. We'll skip that. Okay, here's your connection to the top of the water heater. So this one here, the water heater has 2 different kinds of vents. So a 2-inch installation. I wondered how they were getting 2-inch. Well, that's because they allow that 2-inch vent to be used on the top of the water heater, or a 3-inch, depending on what you're trying to bring in. Okay, so 3x2 reducer tells me I can do that. The water heater came with a metal screen that will fit to a 3-inch elbow. So most water heaters, there's a rule that I have to come up 12 inches and then make my turn. But with the on-demand water heaters, there's no such rule because it's power vent. It has a vent inside. Okay, connect a 3-inch elbow directly to the intake vent collar of the water heater. Remember, it's not to be glued. Make sure the coupling is engaged, the O-rings, install the intake and vent collars. Cool. So single wall pipe with room air intake. Termination. Any questions here so far?
No.
Okay. Okay, 3-inch vent installation. And again, I don't need to go over each one of these because we're not installing these. You just need to know when you look at them what they look like, and if they don't look like they're the parts that go with the water heater, they're wrong. Okay, so they're showing you all these different diagrams. You can just copy this right off the page. These aren't copyrighted things. They're just on the instruction sheet that they send out, and then you can use them. They're diagrams that are free for you. Okay, exhaust vent, stainless steel. We're seeing some of this, but why when I could use plastic vents? There, right here at the bottom where I have my mouse, there's a 4-inch elbow with bird screen. I'm seeing a lot of this. It's not stainless steel, but it's aluminized venting. Some of this is designed by the manufacturer and is allowed to be used as long as you have the proper connection at the bottom here where this connector is located. Okay, here we are on the outside, and it talks about all the different windows it has to be away from and all these rules. I'm telling you, it's a lot. Do you have to remember all these? It just can't be near one. How about that? Okay, so let's look down here. Clearance above grade, veranda, porch, deck, or balcony, 1 foot, direct vent. Okay, so I see a lot of these where they build a deck and then it comes out below the deck. Weird. Clearance to a window door that might be open. It's 3 feet. Direct vent.
That's for Canada, by the way, that you're looking at.
Does it say Canada?
Yeah.
Oh, those
Go
Canadians.
all the way to the right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, let's go over to USA. Thank you. Thank you, Harris. Here it's 4 feet. Here it's 4 feet from below or side opening, 1 foot from above opening. Okay, but the 1 foot's still the same. Clearance to a window, 4 feet. 4 feet down here. Oh yeah, look at those Canadians. I guess they like fumes. Okay, clearance from non-mechanical air supply inlet to the building, 4 feet. Oh, weird. 3 feet. Well, here's one that's different. Clearance to mechanical. Here it's 6 feet in Canada, and we only carry 3. Clearance above paved sidewalk to paved driveway located in a public property, 7 feet. Huh. Weird. Okay. That would all be done in plan check. Okay. Okay. I'm just going through this venting here. Okay. So the venting that they have a lot of times is goosenecks here because birds have trouble flying up and into it. One of the things is this used to just be a right angle turn and then it gets blocked by a bird. All these have pressure switches built into them so they won't work. So back east, they're having all these issues with the water heater not functioning, and then someone takes it apart because remember the collar ring on the top is made to come loose so you can inspect this thing. Okay, so one is exhaust. Take a look. Here it is. One's exhaust and one's vent. So you'll see these on a lot of new houses now, or you'll see one concentric vent. Okay, the exhaust terminations must be at least 1 foot away from any obstructions. So it has to be, it has the 2 feet. So they want 2 feet away. Oh, look at that. 2 feet away between these two. Does that matter? Canada? Guess not.
Yeah, it does matter because you don't want to be mixing intake and exhaust together because you can pull intake exhaust gases into the intake.
Okay, so one says, okay, yeah, this is the one that's Canada and US, 2 feet and 3 feet. Okay, so that was the USA. Either way, there's got to be a separation, everybody. Everyone says, oh, what are the numbers? I don't care. They got to be apart. And you'll see them right next to each other. So this is bad. Gas supply and pipe sizing. Here's where the rubber hits the road, everybody. And when I write these up and I'm doing the inspection, the plumbers, their heads are just exploding. They're just boom, off they go. Okay, check with the gas matches the type of rating plate. Ensure all gas regulators used are operating properly and provide gas pressures within the specified range. I don't know that. Conversion of the water heat from natural gas to propane. it's got to have a sticker on it somewhere that said it was. So if you're at a house and the water heater says gas, natural gas, there's got to be a sticker where they converted that over. If it's not, it's wrong. So propane and LP gas are the same. Why is it called LP gas, Harris?
Liquid petroleum.
Is that the same as propane?
Yes.
Thank you. And vice versa. Okay, so let's take a look here. Natural gas, inlet gas pressure, 4 inches of water column, maximum of 10.5. Is anybody doing a water column test? I don't think so. Okay, inlet gas pressure from the outside, doesn't matter, exceed the maximum. So, you can say to the plumber, did you do a test? Well, if they don't do it, the gas company would. Okay, gas connection. Install a manual gas shutoff valve between the water heater and the gas supply. It has to be before the flex line. The gas can't be shut off after the flex line. So in other words, if I have a rigid pipe or CSST, that counts too, the valve has to be there before I put on the connector that goes between that and the device you're operating. Is that true, Harris?
That is true. Absolutely true.
Okay, good. Okay, until testing the main gas supply pressure is completed and ensure the gas line to the water heater is disconnected. Okay, gas connections. Install a manual gas valve. We already did that. Gas connections, we did that. The water heater was disconnected. Okay, 1/2 inch. Yes, okay. Always purge the gas line of any debris and water before connecting. Well, we're not doing that. Okay, here it is. Notice, size the gas supply appropriately to supply necessary volume of gas required for the water heater using this standard in Canada or local codes. Otherwise, flow capabilities and outdoor temperatures will be limited. See, here's the thing. When they say it'll operate off a 1/2 inch, sure it will. But if you saw a dribble of water coming out of a faucet, you'd say, I don't like that. Well, in this case here, the flame is barely enough to heat the water. So it'll operate off a 1/2 inch, but at 15,000 BTUs. Okay. Okay, here we go. So natural gas. And again, they're putting this on here because they're getting sick and tired of the plumbers whining or the homeowners. So here we go. So maximum delivery in cubic feet of gas per hour, blah, 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 based on a pressure drop of 1/2 of a water column. 1/2 inch diameter pipe at 10 feet might produce 172,000 BTUs for you at 10 feet. Okay, but again, that's as a home run from the gas meter, everybody. That's the problem. Okay, so if I come down here to the bottom, let's take a look here where the real picture is. So here's my gas meter. I got 10-foot length. I got to have 1.25 inches of pipe to meet the requirements of all these other devices for volume. The water heater, it says 120,000 BTUs. And they said, well, yeah, we'll let you run a 1/2 inch pipe for this. Because up here, it says that I can run a 1/2 inch pipe for 10 feet. Right here, A. It says it. 10 feet, but I have 1.5 inches pipe, or 1.25 inches. Most of your houses aren't plumbed that way. The older houses have 3/4 pipe everywhere. Okay, and then again, they're doing the 10-foot rule, 10 feet of pipe. 1 inch. I can reduce it now because the 1 inch pipe. So here I got a furnace. I can go 3/4, 10 foot off of that pipe. But as I get down here to the dryer, which is 35,000 BTUs, I can go with 1/2 inch with 10-foot length because I can come back up here and I can look and say, oh yeah, look. I can supply that and I got plenty of gas. But as you get farther and farther out, so we had a client, every time they turned on their barbecue and went in and turned on their stove inside, the barbecue flame would go out because the stove would go on. That was sort of weird. So they wondered why it took their spa forever to heat because they ran a 1/2 inch pipe to everything. Okay. So I'm a believer, bigger pipe. Okay, pressure port on the bottom here, measuring inlet gas pressure. We don't care. Water pressure, water connections. Okay. Do not use this appliance if any part has been underwater. Well, If it's hanging up on the wall and it's been underwater, you probably shouldn't be doing the inspection. But what they're telling you is the warranty is voided as soon as it's in a flood. Cool. Okay. Voided. Pressure relief valve. Pressure, not a TMP, everybody. The water heater has a high pressure shutoff switch built in as a standard safety feature called a high limit switch. Therefore, a pressure only relief valve is required. How do you know? It has no probe. There is no sensor on it. A temperature and pressure has a white probe on it. Okay? The pressure relief valve must conform. There's Canada, we don't care. This capacity doesn't matter. Okay, here it is. Maximum of 150 psi. Okay, 150 psi. The discharge piping of the pressure valve must be directed so that the hot water cannot splash on anyone or nearby. Some of these units, if water is flowing through this valve, it might have a cutoff, but as water's flowing, it's still heating water, everybody. So that's part of the problem. It's pressure, pressure. And it's trying to maintain it. So some of these might have a cutoff. I don't think it does because it's telling me that. If the pressure valve installed in the water heater discharges periodically, this may be due to a defective thermal expansion tank. If you're on an enclosed water system, you need an expansion tank. If you're on a closed loop system on a house, on a city water, you're supposed to have an expansion tank by the rules now. Okay. Defective pressure relief valve, it could be signs of internal scale buildup. Yeah, I bet. So after about 2 or 3 years, these things scale up. The pressure relief valve must be manually operated periodically to check for. Does anybody here pull the valve and turn these things on ever?
Never.
I'm quite sure all nodding your heads going no. Okay, condensate drain. The water heater does not include a built-in condensate neutralizer cartridge for reducing pH level. Does not include it. Well, sure it doesn't. Okay, necessary neutralized assembly is sold separately. Of course it is. In the absence of the local codes and regulations, the manufacturer recommends that condensate be disposed of into a standard drain. Connect the drain tube, drain port located at the bottom of the water heater to a standard drain. Okay, you're not to tie in to the to the drain on the pressure valve. The code says you're not to share those two lines. Now, if you make it double, go ahead, Harris.
I was going to say part of the problem is the water that's coming down the condensate drain is acidic, has acid in it, and it will destroy all other pipes that are not approved for acid.
Right. Okay, so right here at the very, let's go to the bottom. We can read all this stuff in a minute. Go to the bottom here. Do you see this thing that says adequate space? Yeah, that's an air gap, everybody. Let's call it that, air gap. Say it all together, air gap. They're calling it adequate space. The code says that that air gap must be 1 inch or the size of the diameter of the pipe. So let's put it this way. If you have a 3/4 or 1/2 inch pipe, it's 1 inch. And that's the rule. So the water can't jump back up somehow. I don't know how that's going to happen. But it says here I can have a 3/8 or 1/2 inch condensate drain line. Nope. Let's start over. Oh, wait a minute. This is the condensate drain. So the condensate drain can be what the manufacturer says. The valve, let's go back to the pressure relief valve. The drain for that has to be what size minimum? 3/4 inch. The size of the outlet port on the valve. It cannot be reduced. Okay. The condensate drain can be reduced. And it says that right here. 1/2 inch or 3/8. Says it right here. 3/8, 1/2 inch. Says it. Okay. Case B, drain port. Looks different here. Neutralizer. Okay. It's putting this little drain in here to neutralize the acids from this thing. Adequate space. We can fight over that all day. Oh, hey, here we're getting to the point where Harris is all excited. He's chomping at the bit. Put me in, coach. Take me off the bench. I've been on the bench too long. Okay, at the top, before we go there, the condensate drain is at atmospheric pressure. What's that mean? Non-pressurized. So it just free flows, therefore must be allowed to drain freely with gravity only. Does everybody understand? Gravity only. It cannot drain upward.
Down.
Yeah, it has to go down. There's no pressure there. Okay. Condensate drain cannot effectively neutralize. The neutralizer cartridge designed to last for 3 years. They never do. All preventive measures and safety practices must be adhered, blah, blah. A drain pan or other means of protection against water damage is required to be installed under the water heater. If somebody sees a pan under an on-demand water heater, please take a picture. I'd like to see what it looks like other than it's sitting on the floor. Okay, Harris, electrical connections. Follow the electrical code requirements of the local authority. Follow the current edition of the National Electrical Code in the year it's installed. Failure to observe these warnings can result in personal safety. Okay, on a gas water heater, what's my minimum again, Harris?
15 amps.
Okay, and that would be a 15 amp breaker in the panel.
15 amp. Right, a single 15 amp breaker.
Okay, and typically it requires a home run from the unit out to the panel.
On a new installation, yes.
On an existing one,
you can't always do that.
okay, so on an existing one, what do I have?
On an existing one, you may have to tap off an existing circuit that's already available at the site, in which case you're going to just tap off what's existing. And because this particular circuit doesn't draw very much power, it's very little power.
Okay, now, Harris, in a new house, if it's plugged into a circuit that's shared, well, it's on its own circuit. Does it have to be GFI protected if it's in the garage?
If it's in the garage, yes, it has to be GFCI protected, and it should be on its own circuit.
Okay, can I run a single receptacle on a line and have it not be GFI protected?
Yes, as long as it's a single outlet.
Okay, so what do we mean by that, Harris?
Okay, well, when you have a dedicated circuit, which means it comes from the panel to the box in the garage, obviously, if you have a single receptacle that nothing else could be plugged into, it is a dedicated circuit, and it doesn't have to be GFCI protected because it's for a particular type of an installation.
Okay, but when I'm looking at it on the wall, what do I expect to see? One single plug-in?
One, yeah, it'll be a round receptacle with 3 prongs.
But single, not two of
prong,
them.
a small prong, and a ground.
Oh, cool. Okay, all indoor models come with a power plug instead of a junction box. The following procedure is for the outdoor model only. So the outdoor one doesn't come with a cord. Is that what they're telling me?
Yes.
Okay, the water heater must be electronically grounded. Do not attach the ground wire to either the gas or the water piping. Cool. The water heater requires 120 volt, 60 hertz. Well, is that unusual, 60 hertz?
No, that's the standard for here in America.
Most of America?
Yes.
Yes, America, okay. That is properly grounded. So it's telling me right here. A proper disconnect on-off power plug controlling the main power to the water heater must be provided for service reasons. Okay, if there's no shutoff, is unplugging the cord, does that count as an on-off switch?
That is an approved method of a disconnect.
Okay, so say that one more time so everybody understands what you just said.
Okay, if there is a plug connected appliance, that is considered an approved disconnect for that appliance.
Cool. But if it's hardwired, then I need a disconnect.
Yes, if it was hardwired, you'd have to have a disconnect.
So hardwired means I can't unplug it.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
The use of breaker work for that or not?
I didn't hear you.
Can a breaker work for that or not?
As long as it's within 50 feet, line of sight of the unit.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so again, if the sub panel's not like nearby, and it's on the other side of the wall, no, it can't do that. And so the builder will fight with you and say, we did it the way it's supposed to be. Well, that's not the case right here. I need a disconnect. So that's covered under the NEC code, Harris?
Yeah, well, NEC, right, National Electric Code.
Yeah. So depending on if you're in the county or city, believe it or not, they follow the same code.
That's correct.
Say what?
I say that is correct.
Yeah, okay. Okay, indoor model, outdoor model, a green screw. So if there's a green screw, there's supposed to be a wire hook to it.
That is correct. Yes.
It's there for a reason, everybody. So when they say we don't need that, well, it's there for a reason because they want you to hook something to it.
One more thing that you passed over. Number 5, the use of a surge protector. And the reason for that is there are fluctuations on the electrical line, and any kind of a surge can destroy the electronics in that unit.
Yeah, this is,
So,
well, Harris, let me ask you a question while you're talking about it. So this is a big deal right now where all the heating and cooling people are saying, if we're going to replace your unit, we got to put one of these in. And they're putting these in at the disconnect. They're putting them on the electric water heaters and everything else on the planet. Is that a good idea, or are they just screwing you over?
oh no, it is a good idea because it protects the electronics. I mean, you do have surges that you don't see blinking lights, things like that, but there are surges that can burn out any electronic device.
Okay, good deal. Okay, temperature remote control. So some of these have a remote control here at the top. You can put inside the building instead of outside, so they can change the temperature. It says it comes with 2 screws, probably to screw it to the wall, manual, and then a remote control cable that's made to come with it. This remote controller is not waterproof. So that means it can't be outside, Harris?
Right, you can't put it outside
Yeah,
or any place where it's subject to get wet.
Yeah, I destroy the hopes of many plumbers when I see this installed, and I go, it can't be outside. Come on. Do not install in high temperature environments. Does that mean it can't be in the sun?
You can't be in the sun, and it can't be in, again, steamy environments, it says.
Yeah, such as in a bathroom. So this is why you see it in the weirdest locations, like next to the toilet area, because it's outside of that shower. So it says here, in direct sunlight within reach of children. Make sure the remote controller does not come. So what I'm seeing builders doing now, they're putting it next to the toilet, and I'm going, you have to kneel down to get to it. So I don't know how they're doing it. They're like leaning over the toilet. It's just not very accessible. Okay, so this is just telling them how to tighten screws, put that unit in. High altitude locations, again, dip switches. Okay. Installation altitude. If anyone lives above 10,100 feet, please take a picture and send it to us. Whatever. So somewhere, and okay, we'll put this in perspective for you. The mile-high city called Denver is the same height as a city in Arizona. What city is that? Starts with an F.
Flagstaff.
Flagstaff, yes. So the National Training Center is in Flagstaff because it's a mile high. Marketing works, everybody. Okay, so the maximum allow is 10,100 feet for indoor model and 6,000 feet for outdoor units. It doesn't matter. There isn't a place on the planet, I don't believe, that's higher than 6,000 where you, oh, wait a minute, Mount Lemon, that's at 8,000 feet, 9,000. Okay, so the indoor model is 6,000 feet and outdoor, so you're going to have to do that. Okay, high mountains. Okay, application, space heater. Remember we were talking about some of these units are used for space heaters. This water heater is suitable, what? For a combination portable heating and space heating, and not suitable for space heating applications only. Oh, look at that. They're telling you have to use it for hot water, and you could use it for heating your floor. So hydronically, sometimes you have a loop system where you're running pipes in the floor, but they're telling you it can't be used for space heating only. That sounds weird to me, but okay. Okay, so if it says it's not rated, all water heaters have a rating, everybody. So if you're doing a manufactured home and you look at the water heater, it says right on it, not adequate for mobile homes. It says right on it, do not use a mobile home. Well, then they're going to have to replace it. Required circulation flow rates. Okay. Toxic chemicals. The water heater can be used to supply potable water and space heating. Shall not be connected to any heating system previously used with non-potable water, like glycol. Glycol is antifreeze. When the system requires water for space heating at a temperature higher than required for other uses, a means such as mixing valve shall be installed to temper the water for those other uses in order to reduce, either way. It's telling me I have to have a scald sensor on there so it can't scald. Water temperatures over 125 could cause severe burns. Okay, so those of you that aren't doing any water testing, if you can't put your hand in there without burning yourself, it's bad. So 125 is the standard temperature for almost all water heaters. It says right on it. Okay, I love this part here. A lot of times you'll see a recirculation pump installed, so you have hot water immediately at every location. I see the word recirculation here. It says the recirculation pump is to be controlled by dual setting aquastat recommended with timer. A recirculation pump is to provide no less than 2 GPM and no more than 4 GPM through each activated unit in a system. What they're telling you here, they don't want this thing running all the time. The water heater never shuts off. So let's take a look back here, and we can see here is check valve, check valve. So the circulation pump turns on and pumps that water out to the farthest location and then back, out to the farthest location and back. Okay, so, but it's got to be timed. So you have these timers with these switches on them. You can turn it on and off so you can have hot water at the other end of the house. Okay, so one of the complaints with an on-demand water heater is, well, I had to wait. You don't have to wait any longer than a regular water heater. It's still not there. Okay. So when you time it, a lot of times the time they're talking about waiting is like 15 to 20 seconds. That's the length of time you sit there waiting for the light to change, everybody, while you're screaming at it. Okay. Dual purpose water heating, domestic and space heating. So here's a picture of this whole mess up here. Again, I just don't see this being used anywhere in our area, but if you're doing some stuff on Mount Lemmon, Sierra Vista, Fort Huachuca, you might see this type of thing. It's a super expensive and it's, high tech. Okay, for your safety, read before operating. If you smell gas, okay, wait a minute. I thought the gas was odorless, Harris.
No, it isn't. In fact, the gas company puts in an odor so you can detect it.
Okay, so you mean it is odorless before they put the odor in it?
Right, and then they put an odor in so you can detect the leak.
Yeah. So
Just a little trivia question for you. What's the name of that odorant?
Thanks, Ken. Thanks for asking. Hey, somebody Google that right away, will you?
It's Mercaptan.
Oh, Mercaptan. I've heard that word. Thank you. It's now recorded. Mercaptan. Thank you. I love it.
It smells.
Okay, well, so in the mines, when they would be mining, they would have a canary. I know it sounds bad, but the canary would fall off the perch, and as soon as it hit the paper, everyone would start running for the door. Now they have these sensors, Mercaptan. Okay. I'd like to get some. I'd like to spread that around. There's a guy who does a glitter bomb, and he says he puts a stink bomb online, but maybe that's what he's using.
He uses skunk spray is what he uses.
Oh, skunk spray. Okay, I'll have to watch it one more time. It's the best. Okay, if you smell gas, run. Once the above checks have been completed, please clean filter and any debris. Fully open the manual water valve. I can't get Mercaptan out of my mind now. Open a hot water tap to verify the water is moving up to the tap. Open fully. Oh, turn on the 120 volt 60. Okay, one of the things when we go to do an inspection, they say it's not working. And then you go, is there any power? And they all look at you and they go, why? Well, first of all, it's on that GFCI. It doesn't have to be, but many times it could be. You just unplug the cord and plug in your tester and test it and see if there's any power. Or you can take your volt stick. Is that what you do, Harris? What do you do?
Yes. Yeah, I use my volt stick.
Okay, before you had a volt stick, what'd you do, Harris? Lick your fingers and touch it?
My fingers.
Yeah, okay. And we're not kidding everybody. That's how these electricians used to do it. That's why Harris sort of every once in a while he goes, "What, squirrel? What? Where are we?"
Yep. It had an effect.
Yeah, it had an effect. Okay. Optional items: temperature remote controller, pipe cover, neutralizer kit, 4-inch exhaust, sidewall, whatever. Here's your thermometer. Here's your pipe cover. Here's an inline neutralizer. Okay. So at the top is a sidewall vent kit. Oh, here's your your concentric kit. These are the neatest, and you'll see these on new houses now because they only want to make one hole. And so in the attic, the two pipes tie in. There's your 2-inch vent into a 3-inch concentric ring, and then this top piece here. But some people are putting an elbow on there so the water, the little bit of rain we have, doesn't run through it. So when using this terminating direct vent sealed combustion system with indoor models that require a 3-inch intake, this concentric termination provides convenience of only having to make one penetration through a sidewall instead of two. Okay, so this is a sidewall vent. They make a roof vent too. Recess box. I see these every once in a while. We'll allow for a clean installation. The units here, and if you notice here, the vents on the outside, this is supplied by the manufacturer. If we looked at this, I'm always wondering, is there enough combustion air coming through these vents? Because louvers, it's 1/3 of the volume is cut down by the louvers themselves. Owner's guide, thank you for choosing our tankless water heater, blah, blah, blah. And there it goes. Operating safety and stop for your safety. Operating instructions, turn off gas to appliance. Okay, this picture is on the front of every water heater. I know none of you have read it because I haven't, so let's pretend we are now. It's talking about vapors here, and it's talking about people running like a son of a gun. Water heaters have to be how far off the floor? It says it right here. So the water heater doesn't have to be 18 inches. It's the source of ignition. Must be 18 inches off the floor. So they make these pedestals, and they sit there. Now, these new vapor-resistant water heaters, they say you can't set them up there, but some of the building departments are saying, wait a minute, if that thing fails, we still have the same issue. So depending on where you're going on new construction, they're still building these things up on a pedestal. They're not taking any chance. Okay, water temperature over 125. Let's see, anything else on here weird? Canada again, those Canadians. No valve should be placed within, okay. Now they're giving us the instruction here how to go ahead and set it up. Temperature control settings. Again, we already know 125. So you might want to add this to your inspection sheet where you talk about you're not checking the temperature of the water, and that they might want to check it with a thermometer to verify the water temperature is not over 125 degrees as stated by the manufacturer. That could be a nice safety thing to put. Okay. Additional features. Flow. Okay. The flow rate through the water heater is limited to the maximum of 7 gallons per minute. I don't know. Is that a lot? Let's look. So look over here on household flow rates. So a lavatory faucet is rated at 1 gallon per minute. Huh. So I guess this heater is going to produce enough water for a lavatory faucet. Cool. But the bathtub is between 4 and 10. Oh, wait a minute. Are you telling me that this flow rate through the water heater may not produce enough hot water when I'm filling a tub? Yes, that's what I'm saying. The shower, no problem at all. So when you're filling a tub, this baby's a problem. But take a shower. Okay, now, can I run the faucet in a shower? Yes. But I can't fill a tub and run why would I run the shower? But either way. But all these other appliances here you can see are less than 1.5. No problem whatsoever on an on-demand water heater. But where the rubber hits the road here is when the washing machine's on. When the washing machine's on and I want to run anything else, I'm almost reaching the limit of this unit, okay? So these on-demand units are great as long as I'm not using other things. But if I'm going to fill a tub I'm using most of the water, everybody. Anything
Yeah,
else?
but you're using, these numbers are only for newer houses. The old houses didn't have flow restrictors in them. And so the sink would send out more than a gallon, showers more than 3.5 gallons per minute. So, you got to use it in perspective.
Yeah. So what happens in these older houses? How you test this is you turn on the sink or the shower in one bathroom. You run to the other end of the house and you turn it on. You see if you ever get any hot water, and you're not. So the older houses have no flow restrictors with on-demand water heaters, and then the people are really ticked because there's not enough water. As long as you turn everything else off, you'll be fine. You turn anything else on, it's going to be a nice cold shower. Okay, so there you go. Freeze protection system. This water heater comes equipped with heating blocks to protect it against damage associated with freezing. Oh man. So now it's going to be turning on a heater all winter to keep it from freezing if it's outside. For this freeze protection system to operate, there must be electrical power to the water heater. I guess so. Damage to the water exchange caused by freezing temperatures due to power loss is not covered under the warranty. In cases where power losses can occur, a backup supply. The freeze protection system will activate when the senses temperature below 36. Okay, I guess so. For the indoor model, I guess I don't need freeze protection because I'm not going to freeze to death. Highly recommends an indoor installation model. Cool. Okay, manufacturer highly recommends the use of a backflow preventer sold separately. Water. Okay, so the way it works is cold water migrates to hot. So they're telling you that the hot water migrates back down the cold water system. So they're telling you to put a backflow preventer in. It is the manufacturer's responsibility to be aware of freezing issues and take all preventive measures. Installers. The manufacturer will not be responsible for any damage to the heat exchangers or result of freezing. So in Texas, they had all this freezing temperatures that are never had in their lives. These heaters were freezing and breaking all over the place. There's no warranty. You're just out of luck. Okay, only pipes within the water heater are protected by the freeze protection. Sorry, let's do this again. Only pipes within the water heater are protected by the freeze protection. So all the others are breaking and water spraying all over the place. Any water pipes, hot or cold, located outside the water heater will not be protected. Okay, there it is. Wow, I just learned something tonight. I didn't realize there was freeze protection. I just figured, it's going to freeze. I put one of these in. I'm going to go out and insulate it tonight. It's very cold. Okay, maintenance and service. Okay, here's the problem with on-demand units, everybody. These things need to be descaled. They need to be descaled quite regularly, every 2 to 3 years, because your flow is restricted. Okay, it's showing you here what your flame needs to be like if you have a chance of staring up into this thing. Blue flame, nice. Flame blowing around, bad. Red or yellow, bad again. Unit draining and filter cleaning. Close the manual. Okay, it's telling you how to do all this. You have to do it because you have no water flow. The water flow is dribbling. Okay. Descaling the unit. Don't get me wrong, but they're telling you right in the instructions, you're going to be descaling this thing. Hardware is a severe problem. The heat exchanger failure to. So again, this is something you might want to add if you're inspecting a on-demand unit, that these units require maintenance. Everyone seems to love them. And then the problem is when you got to descale them, it becomes a little pain in the butt. So what is the descaler solution? Does anybody know what it is?
Calcium.
No, I mean the solution that you're making. Is it muriatic acid, Ken? What is it?
Is it vinegar and water?
Well, I don't know. I'm quite sure it can't be a real acid per se because the inside is metal. It says descaling solution. So if someone can do on your computer, type in SDS sheet for a descaling solution for a water heater, it'll tell you what it's made out of. MDS sheets. Okay. Descaling solution, water heaters. It's a mild acid of some sort. Allow unit to run, firing, water heaters firing, shut off, assuming, isolate the water heater.
Says you could use CLR.
Yeah, CLR is actually a brand name that's using muriatic acid. So if you go ahead and you look at the sheets on it, it'll tell you that muriatic acid is 1% of that solution. Okay, water lines. But again, descaling solution. I don't think vinegar is heavy enough. Fill a bucket, submersible, cleanse the system. Okay, so again, descaling the unit is a primary function of having an on-demand unit. Okay, troubleshooting. If you're going to be an inspector, you might as well know why the stupid things is not working. Okay, you can hit plus and minus, make this bigger so you can read it. Okay, it takes a long time to get hot water at the fixtures. Well, I don't know, it's probably the gas line. The time it takes to deliver hot water from the water heater to your fixture depends on the length of your pipe. The longer the distance, the bigger the pipes, the longer it will take. Well, I guess so. If you would like to receive hot water to your fixtures quicker, you may want to consider a water heater circulation system. Sure you would. So you could put one of those in, or you can get another water heater. The hot water is not hot enough. Compare the flow, cross-check plumbing between the water lines. If the gas supply valve is fully open, yeah, okay, sure. Is the gas line sized properly? There it is, right there, everybody. Page 21. The gas line is 100% of the time. Oops, sorry. 100% of the time is too small. Okay. Is the temperature set too low? I doubt it. Is the water too hot? Well, okay, again, it's set too hot. Make sure the unit has 120 volts, 60 hertz power supply. So they're doing that because Canada has 50 hertz in some locations, everybody. And in the United States, when did we switch from 50 to 60? Harris, what year?
Actually, they never switched. It's still available in parts of the United States. So when you look at the rating of an electrical device, it'll say 50/60 hertz, which means it'll operate properly.
Okay, so when you and
You only
Thomas,
operate on 60.
okay, so when you and Thomas Edison were trying to determine what to use, that's why it
Yeah,
ended up.
the main reason this might only operate on 60 is because it's an electronic device. It's not a mechanical device, it's electronic.
Right.
And some electronics are very sensitive to the hertz.
Okay. When the hot water is not available when the fixture is opened. Okay, so you turn on a faucet and there's no hot water, but there is water flowing out. Make sure the unit has a power supply. If you're using the remote controller and our temperature controller, the power button is turned on. The time it takes to deliver hot water from the water heater to your fixture depends on the length of the piping between the two. Is the gas supply fully open? Is the water supply fully open? Okay, all these different things, you can read them. Now, a lot of the fixtures, if they're anti-scald, they won't function if there's no hot water supply or cold water supply, let's say, to the faucet. They have to have the same amount of flow to both sides of the faucet for the faucet to work. That's why the anti-scald kicks in and water won't flow out of the faucet. I've had people say, oh, my faucet's not working. That plumber's like an idiot, didn't put it in. Okay, the hot water turns cold and stays cold. Well, sure it does. Is the flow rate enough to keep the water heater running? No. Is there a recirculation system installed? Does the recirculation line have enough check valves? No. Is the gas supply valve fully open? No. A lot of people think by shutting it down they can save gas. It just makes it not heat water. Is the filter on the cold water valve clean? No. It's dirty. Is the fixture clean of debris and obstructions? No. It needs to be clean. Okay. Fluctuation in hot water temperature. This is the most common thing. They turn it on, it gets hot, it gets cold, it gets hot, it gets cold. Is the filter on the cold water inlet clean? Well, there's no filter. Let's pretend it's gone. Is the gas line sized properly? You see that? That should be in big, gigantic black letters, capital letters with bold. Okay, item 21. Is the gas supply gas pressure sufficient? Well, probably not if the gas supply is too small. So, okay, Ken, since you're the gas man, what's the average pressure for our gas supplies in Arizona or Tucson? Were you like with the gas company or something? He's Googling
No,
it.
I worked for the fire department, so we had a lot of training with that. As
Uh-huh.
far as the pressure goes, I couldn't tell you. I know that has to be tested at 10 pounds.
Yeah, okay. It's only like 3 to 5 pounds. So speaking of fires, so I one time somehow broke a gas line. It was sort of weird. And a guy comes up and he puts his finger over the end of the pipe that stops the leak. And I said, well, that's pretty cool. And then another guy walks up because it's plastic and he takes a pair of vice grips and clamps it off and says, oh, the crew will come and fix it. I went, wow, okay. So it's not high.
Yeah, the plastic in the ground, you can crimp it and that'll shut it off.
Oh,
Um, and which is usually a service line. Anything above a service line is going to be higher pressure, so you can't do that with anything other than a service line.
sure. Okay, perfect. So it's low pressure. Um, okay, are the fixtures okay? Fluctuations, and then the very bottom one, check for cross connection between cold water lines and hot water lines. I don't know how that's occurring except at a faucet. Um, and that can happen. If you're working on a faucet, you open the water like cold water, and you're working on the hot water side, it goes through the faucet and out the other valve and into your face. Okay. Oh, we got, okay. Oh, it's more problems. Okay. Unit does not ignite when the water goes through the unit. Is the power on? I don't know how many times they've said, well, I tried it. You drive out to a house and they say, the light doesn't work on the fan. Did you check the bulb? Why would I? Harris is laughing because I'm quite sure he's driven across town and it's a bulb. Is the
Yeah.
gas on? I don't know.
Okay, so this brings my point on. So when I do inspections and they've got a tankless water heater and it's on a GFCI circuit, I recommend that they get that off of that circuit because that could trip all the time. You're in taking a shower, somebody turns on a curling iron or a blow dryer, it pops the GFI, or it's raining outside and they get wet and they trip. Now you've got this whole issue with service calls and everything else because stuff's not working because it's on a GFCI circuit. So what's the problem with can you take that outlet if it's downstream from the GFI and just turn it into its own by replacing the outlet?
Well, it
Harris?
depends. It depends on where the GFCI is located and where the circuit originates. If it's going to a GFI and then it travels to the water heater, you can't do that. If it goes to the water heater first, yes, you can. You can bypass it and protect the circuit downstream. However, they're not so much worried about GFCIs. The kind of situation we were talking about before was the GFCI in a garage. If it's not in a garage, then all it needs is a surge protector, not a GFCI.
Right. Most of my remodels that I've seen where they took out the tank water heater and put a tankless in. They basically just used the outlet in the garage, which was the GFCI outlet, and you're invariably going to run into a problem. I noticed this is something that they're doing in Chandler now, where they're basically putting everything in GFI, including the refrigerator, and the garage door opener and everything. So if you trip a GFI in the garage, everything in the garage, including the door opener, is killed. In the kitchen, it kills the refrigerator as well. I don't know why Chandler's doing that.
Well, it's part of the
Yeah,
code. Go ahead, Harris.
yeah, I was going to say you're absolutely right. The new code calls for all 120-volt circuits to be AFCI, GFCI protected combination units. And so, yeah, you're going to find that the only way to change it is to go with a dedicated circuit, which is what we were talking about earlier. But the code is pretty explicit. All circuits must be GFCI protected.
Yeah, so I see them changing this code. Don't get me wrong. as soon as their wives' food is destroyed and they come home and they can't get in the garage, and then they can't get in anything because anything electronic is tripped off. You'll see some things change because I don't see anyone getting electrocuted operating a garage door or getting food out of the refrigerator anytime soon.
No, but
the other thing too,
do you guys
like,
call that out on your inspections though?
Well, that's not happening in Tucson so far. So
yeah, the other
Oh,
thing
well.
too is if you're up on a new construction inspection, air conditioners are going to be on GFCIs now. And that's another issue. There are a lot of problems with that. They
Yeah,
keep
that doesn't pull a lot of amps when that thing turns on.
Well, it's not the amperage that it draws. It's
But
actually the loss
it's
from
resistance it can create though, correct?
it's the built-in loss from the compressor. That's really where the problem is.
Copy. Okay, well, thank you.
okay, thanks, Ken. Okay, so yeah, so these code things that are coming, we have a class on the 30th. We have a code official coming. That's scariest day of the year. And he'll be talking exactly about those things and us as inspectors and what the city inspectors are looking for. That'll be up in Phoenix. It's advertised on the AZ ASHI site. Unit sounds abnormal while in operation. What does that mean? It sounds different than normal. Controller does not display anything when the power button is turned on. Well, you're screwed. Make sure the water heater is supplied with power. Make sure the connection to the water heater is correct. Notice when the water heater is not operated for 5 minutes or more, the display controller turns off to conserve energy. Cool. The an error core code is displayed. Okay. Error codes. I wish they would just say error. Oh, it does E. And then you can look that up and go from there. Fault analysis. I don't think we need to know this right now, but if it's not working, so here it goes. It's telling you green LED 5 times, 1 time, 3 times, 3, 2, 1, 2. And actually, Ken, we should probably do something on fire suppression systems or fire detectors on the new ones about green and red lights and blinking lights and all the clicking they're doing and all the different stuff. Okay, malfunction description, air fuel ratio, failure, abnormal main gas solenoid. Oh, wow. So it's telling us all the different things that are faulting out to this thing, gas solenoid valve, drive circuit failure, all the things that occur if you know the codes. Unless you have that memorized, who cares? Oh, here we go. So down below, imperfect combustion. That's what we'll be looking at. Check to see if the gas type matches the gas supplied to it. Sounds pretty common. Inspect the environment around the water heater. Check the altitude, elevation areas. So if you're up high, check if there's any blockage. If the water heater is installed in a direct vent system, check whether there's enough distance between the air intake and the exhaust. I can't remember what that is. I think it was 2 feet. Check if there is, what's it say, grease or dirt in the burner. I don't know why it would be there. It's closed. Check the manifold pressure. We're not doing that. Again, components diagram, just standard stuff. More components, computer board assembly. The installers are always saying the computer's bad. Computer's bad. We'll have to replace that. It'll be $3,000. You're going, well, the unit only cost $1,800 brand new. Burner assembly. Okay, breakdown. Parts list. These are always nice. I can order parts now. OEM, original parts. Otherwise, you order them aftermarkets. It's giving you the outdoor temperature chart for this unit. Chart is based on properly sized gas line. I don't know how many times I have to say this. I put this online and I was getting like hate mail for like a week. And I said, hey guys, if the gas line's not big enough, it's not going to work. You know, it's based on some sort of thing called gas pressure. Ugh. Okay, warranty. Again, the warranty never covers the second person. It covers the original person. So all these warranties, they say, oh, I got a 10-year warranty. As soon as you walk out the door, the new person has 0. So the manufacturer warrants this product against defects and workmanship if installed with the United States or Canada or its authorized service, repair or replace failed defective parts if the manufacturer determines is not commercially practical. The manufacturer and his service representative will refund the purchase price. Cool. The manufacturer's authorized service people may, at its sole discretion, use a new or refurbished or reconditioned part. Well, I can always tell you it's reconditioned. Okay, so the warranty, single family domestic water heater. If it's being used in a business, they're saying here it's either way. Heat exchanger, it says 15. Does that say years? I don't know. It's small print. Yeah, maybe it's 15 days or something. Anybody zoom in? There's no parts and labor on that thing. And so multi-commercial, if you're paying for that, it says parts and labor are covered.
Okay. On the 15, it says number 2 or 3 applies.
Oh, okay. So 2 or 3. So look down here. Includes recirculation or storage tank. All applications, the length of operation must be less than 3,000 hours. Okay. So 3,000 hours. I'm not good with math. So let's pretend I'm using that water heater 2 hours a day and divide, 2 hours a day, 14, it's 28 a week.
1,500 days of 5 years.
Okay, so after 5 years, they're telling you this thing is toast. Cool. Okay, the manufacturer will provide reasonable labor charges associated with the warranty and replacements within 1 year from date of purchase. The manufacturer will pay directly to the service provider. Okay, so whoever put it in. Warranty service must be performed by an authorized service representative. A list of service representatives is available upon request. So if this is put on by somebody that's not on their list, you're toast again. All warranty claims must be authorized and approved by the manufacturer, includes research, either way. Okay, a limited warranty gives you specific legal rights. This warranty only covers failed mechanical parts due to factory defects. There's usually something in here to the original purchaser. Limitation. Okay, here we go. This warranty will not cover the following. I always like that part. Any product is not installed by a licensed plumber. Well, you're toast already. Damages due to accidents. Okay. Damage to fires. Damage to unauthorized alterations. If it's not installed according to the code, you're toast again. Damages due to lack of maintenance. Well, if you don't follow the maintenance thing where it's talking about descaling, any product installed in an improper environment, corrosive, dusty, chemical contaminated, excessive lint. Lint is a dryer, so they'll come and say, well, I see lint dryer, you're out of luck. Okay, so this one's not saying, oh, wait a minute, here we go. Freeze damage that occurs without proper. Condensate damage due to improperly installed. Any product not installed with compliance applicable. Look at all the stuff it won't cover. Any product sold or installed in areas outside of the 50 United States. What? Any product installed in application that causes the water heater to activate more than 300 times per day. Well, that must be somebody who likes to wash their hands a lot. This average to an activation every 5 minutes in a 24-hour period. Well, that sounds wrong. Any failures not due to defects in materials. Damages due to improper installation. Okay, here it is. Gas, incorrect gas piping. That's number 1. Incorrect gas meter sizing, incorrect gas type. Pressure. Water, incorrect water piping, sizing, pressures that fall outside the product specified range, recirculation flow rates that fall outside the product specified range, air removal, and lack of proper materials. Okay, air removal, right here, everybody. Water hammer. If they find any air in there, like an air bubble, or you see some air coming out, you're toast already. Electrical supply voltages that fall outside the product specified range. Damages due to water quality, installation of liquids, potable water. Introduction of pool water. I don't know why pool water would be there, but there you go. Spa water. Introduction of hard water measuring more than 7 grains per gallon. Well, it's going to make me want to test it. Domestic applications more than 4 grains. Introduction of untreated or poorly treated well water into the product. Well, if you have a well, you're out of luck. Okay. Introduction of water with pH levels less. Okay. So there's nothing here that says, like, if you're the next person coming in, they won't warranty it, but it's 1 year, everybody. Wow. Any questions? Thank you for attending. Any questions?
And just as an added note, they sell entire descaling kits on Amazon for like $150. Includes pumps, hoses, descaler, everything.
Oh, they do? Perfect. Yeah, in case it didn't run long enough, I had another one, but I don't want it's the same stuff, but it's another brand. And all these water heaters have the same installation requirements, everybody. I just wanted you to see. I'm just pulling this up in front of you here quickly. This is for gas. So here's the one where you have the goosenecks and you have your 2-foot separation we talked about. Okay, the electric water heaters, Harris, what's the
Yes.
requirement? So if I need a water heater that supplies enough water, I'm going to have a lot of power on that.
Yeah, typically a water heater, electric powered water heater for more than one appliance needs 100 amps of electricity at 240 volts. That's the minimum. Whole lot of power.
Okay.
Of course,
How come on 30 amp breakers?
Well, smaller ones are on 30 amp breakers, but the big ones that can supply more than one appliance, it takes 100 amps and it's broken down into 250 amp circuits.
Right.
So each heater will draw 50 amps.
Yeah. So, and Harris, tell them the reason they're doing that is they have 2 heaters. Each one draws 50.
Right. Each one works over 50 amp line. And if the water heater can't keep up with 150 amp line, the second one kicks in. So it can draw as much as 100 amps. A whole lot of power.
So an on-demand electric water heater, that's why sometimes you'll see 2 of them instead of 1, because it just can't supply enough water without using a boatload of power.
Yes, absolutely right.
Okay. So time-wise, again, here's your vents coming out of your roof. Here's your concentric vent for going out of your roof. This is what we're seeing a lot of right now. A lot of these vents right here like this. We're seeing them for furnaces and for your water heaters. Okay. Any other questions, everybody? Love the questions. Here it talks about the scaling, and each manufacturer has a different way of dealing with it. But again, if you have any questions, Harris and I can answer them for you. And again, Steve, thanks for coming. Richard, Ken, thanks for coming on. And John. Ken, are you up in the Phoenix market? Is that where you're at?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so new construction. One of the things they changed the laws, just to let you guys know, that if there's a class action lawsuit against a builder, the person can sue every contractor that went on the site. And then the way the law is written, it says including home inspectors. And somebody who wrote that law just sort of stuffed that in there because the builder said, well, I want you to sue everybody, not just us. So you have to make sure your insurance covers you for that. If you're getting one of those insurance plans through Inspector Pro, does that. Also, we'll be putting online a new contract written by Inspector Pro. They're one of the insurance companies, and that'll be available online if you're a member of the chapter. Okay, I don't know what the next class is. Did anybody look forward to see what it is? We're just offering them every Tuesday. Is there a better day? Oh, is there a better day to do classes between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday that someone wants, or is Tuesday okay?
Tuesday is fine.
John? Oh, he just unclicked his mic. Okay, well, did you have a question, John?
No, I was just saying Tuesday's fine for me.
Oh, okay, great. Okay. Yeah, we're going to continue with the Tuesdays right now. We had one person say, oh, I want Thursday, and then no one else responded. Harris and I will be doing an electrical class in a couple of weeks.
Thursday's my bowling night, so definitely not Thursday.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Wednesday's my bowling night.
Okay. All that bowling stuff. Okay. Well, very good, everyone. I want to thank everybody for attending the online part of this. Tara will send it to you, and your certificates will show up in your dashboard. Okay, everybody have a great evening, and thanks a lot for attending.
Okay, thank you.